It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Doing well.
Not
Pretty
bad,
good.
not bad.
Hope everybody's doing okay out there. So, what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Well, I actually watched some movies this weekend.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I think I could be totally wrong, but I think one of them was one that Madeline had recommended to us a long time ago when she was on here. But it's called Damsel. And it has Millie Bobby Brown in it, which I didn't, I kept looking at her and it's like, why does she look so familiar? Why does she look so familiar? So, of course, short Google, found out who she was, and it was like, of course, she's always going to look different to me with hair because I'm so used to seeing her bald, from Seven. So, but.
I thought she was 11.
Yep. She liked 7-Eleven. Well, she liked Eggos in 7-Eleven. But yeah, it was entertaining. I mean, it was kind of one of those that, you knew where it was going kind of thing. And then I heard, I saw the dragon, and of course anything with dragon, I'm in. But the dragon talks in this one. And that was kind of weird. I mean, they handled it really well, so it didn't seem like real flaky animated or anything like that. So that was nice. But most of it's shot like in a cave. So, but yeah, it's not bad. I would probably give it maybe an 8 out of 10. Not bad. I was entertained.
And that's really all we're looking for, right?
Yep. And then I posted on our Discord. I may have bitched about it last week too, but they're not going to play all of the Rankin and Bass cartoons this year.
Yeah, you bitched about that.
Yep. So I said, you know what? I don't need them.
Oh, damn, she's going to quit cold turkey.
Right? No, I didn't quit. I just I found out where a lot of them were.
You just dusted off the DVDs.
Yep, and watched them that way.
There you go.
So I've watched most of those over the weekend. I have a few more that I need to watch, but yeah, like I said, some of them I had completely forgotten about. I had watched one. What was it called? The First Christmas Ever. It's like the First Christmas Snow or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it's about a little orphan boy who he lives like in a monastery, I guess, kind of, with like nuns and stuff. And he hears them talking that they're going to send him to an orphanage. And of course that crushes him, And he does like this little play. And at the end of it, he gives the nun like one of these little sheep, which means, you're my family. And, they decide to keep the kid and everything else. But it was kind of like, wow, this is kind of dark for a kid's cartoon. Really, really dark. But I've noticed some of them are like that. They not dark, but they take a more serious tone. I think their little drummer boy also kind of takes a more serious tone. What was the other one? So there was another one that I was like, wow. This was the 70s for you. You can't get them to act right, scare them straight,
The 70s was a dark and depressing time for a lot of people.
Oh, it was. Yeah. And a lot of these cartoons go back to even a more dark and depressing time because most of them are like right after the war, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But then I had watched The Year with No Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to reading up on that one, and that was actually Shirley Booth's last performance.
Yeah.
And she narrated it and was the Santa Claus in it. But then it also, looking up all these different ones, I don't know what it is nowadays. I can't watch a movie without Googling who's in it. And of course, you go down the rabbit hole of all the different things they did. But one thing I knew, but I guess I didn't click it all together. Mickey Rourke did like a ton of Rankin and Bass stuff. I mean, a ton of it. So it's like that's kind of cool.
Yeah, he was Santa in that special.
Mm-hmm.
Santa Claus. Yep. Also had Dick Shawn as the ice meister or cold meister, whatever.
Snow miser.
Snow miser.
Snow miser. Yeah.
Liz, I can tell you why it is you feel like you need to Google these things all the time.
Mm.
It's because you hang out with three assholes who seem like they know everything because they remember a few names from every little thing they've ever seen. That's why.
That's why. Yep. So I know who these names are. Yep.
Uh-huh.
He's got a point.
I'm not wrong.
He's got a point.
Half the time we're
See, now
Googling
I'm
shit
able
too,
to
so
throw
don't
around
feel
some
bad.
names, you know.
Right.
Yeah, some of that. It's cool kind of going back because I remember as a kid, you could only catch some of these on TV. And like after watching the 8th, 9th cartoon, it was like, this is crazy because I sat here in an evening and I've watched something that would take all month long as a kid to be able to see half of what I did, So it's like times have definitely changed. But about time changed though, I had posted on Discord that they were playing the original Rudolph on CBS this year, which of course I did watch that one on TV. Pretty good. I guess if you're a fan of Rudolph, you can tell definitely the scenes that were cut for future or, for, I guess, present, what they do on TV. So that was kind of neat to see. But of course, I wanted to go back even a little further and wanted to find out exactly what made these so different. And a lot of these, Rudolph and the one Fred Astaire did,
Santa's coming to town.
Santa's coming to town. They remastered those. And when they were remastered, they were able to keep a lot of the scenes, but what they lost in a lot of these movies were the sound effects. And I think I found it on YouTube. I'll throw it in Discord. But they were showing like when Fred Astaire comes up in his little mail truck. Well, there's like a couple of backfire noises and that kind of thing. But it's little things like that you wouldn't notice that are gone, but they couldn't redo those, so they just cut it. It's like, well, that's crazy. How hard is it to find a different sound then that would work as a backfire, But most of it was the sound effects that they couldn't put back into these shows.
Weird.
So a lot of times, instead of just finding something else, they just cut the whole scene completely. So there are quite a few scenes that were deleted from Rudolph. And most of them, I'll probably say about 70% of them were because of sound effects. Nothing to do with animation at all. So, little trivia there for you.
Because they didn't want to pay a Foley artist while they were remastering these things.
Yeah. And
Sorry
I think
if I'm
a
being
lot
cynical, but,
do it quick kind of thing, It's something that's a tradition that's going to be played year after year after year. I would have spent a little more time to try to redo those sound effects into them, Like I said, it's it doesn't matter if his car backfires or not, but it was kind of funny. And it kind of explains why he was in the middle of nowhere talking to little forest animals. It's because his truck broke down, you know.
Hmm.
But they cut all that out so you don't know that. He just looks like he's out in the middle of the woods talking to little animals, you know. So, but yeah, like I said, if you haven't seen any of their stuff, they've got, God, I think there was 30 Christmas movies, but a total of 60 like holiday movies and stuff. And the internet is a great place because they have them everywhere. Even when they're like, no, we're going to keep this, check YouTube. So,
Yeah, some of those may not be entirely legal copies, but that doesn't
yeah,
mean they're not
you
out
know.
there.
But you know, well, yeah.
They're there for now.
As I say, some of them are hitting to the point of
Public domain.
trademark. Yep.
Could be.
So, and I can understand how networks want to keep these shows and make money off of them and everything else, but some of this is just cinema history. You know, you look at Santa Claus is Coming to Town, the animation style compared to the way we do it now, you know, both of them were stop motion. Look how smooth and, you know, fluid we've gotten with that now. So it's just it's a piece of history to show how far we've come. Plus, not only that, a testament to what these people could do back in the freaking 60s without computers and stuff to make it look smooth and you know, fluid. They did a really good job on that.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely have to say ahead of their time, but ageless, because you're not going to find anything offensive or, you know, oh, that needs to be a little more modern. They're perfect,
Oh,
just the
so
way
so
they
they
are.
so they cut the scene where Fred Astaire's cussing out the little animals out in the woods. Is that
Yeah,
okay? Good.
he put his hunting rifle away in these.
Or bad.
No rabbits too. But yeah, definitely, I would suggest you at least have to watch them once just so you can say you've seen, you know. Because that being said, I don't know how much longer some of them will be around. The little orphan kid one that I was talking about, that's not a very popular one, and one that could easily just disappear without people noticing, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep, it's true.
Yeah,
I can name another one because I didn't know it existed until several years ago, and I saw it. excuse me, on ABC Family, which is now Freeform and all that. Right? Nestor the long-eared donkey.
oh yeah.
I never knew that existed until I saw it one year.
Yep.
Just kind of randomly.
Yeah.
I said no. Freeform is really good about playing the classics like that.
That's usually where I see them.
Yep. And I you know, I guess it is CBS. Maybe a couple of nights a week now, they are throwing the Christmas specials on between their game shows and that kind of stuff. So
Hmm.
I think I have seen more of the Christmas specials on TV than I have in previous years this year. I don't know if the whole Apple thing kind of made people aware that, hey, people still care about this shit. And like I said, for me, it was just sitting back going, I remember watching this as a kid, you know, and who you were with when you were watching it kind of thing. It probably sucked, yeah. Some of them, like I said, are kind of weird, but it's the nostalgia of them.
Sure.
But a lot of them are just great. There's not too many weird ones. They're really great.
Nostalgia? Us? No way.
I don't do that.
We don't talk about nostalgia around here.
And then a little more modern, I did catch up on Landman. That one, that one's pretty good. I'm really liking that one. So I hope they renew that one for a second season.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
That's about it for me.
Okay. Mikey.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Chongo.
My turn. I watched something old too. Something a lot older than what you watched. Because one, some of the discussions we've had lately have gotten me started on silent films again. And two, there's one that I found on Tubi, of all places, because it seems like freaking almost everything's on Tubi. I was curious because of some references to it that we've been hearing about lately. The movie I watched was from 1928. It's called The Man Who Laughs.
Lon Chaney.
Funny story. It was because I looked it up after I watched it. They originally had cast Lon Chaney in the role. And you're going to be as surprised as I am, but in the mid-20s, the mid-1920s, there was a production hell then too. And this movie got caught up in production hell, and Lon Chaney wasn't available by the time they got ready to start shooting. So Conrad Veidt took over.
Yeah.
Okay, Conrad Veidt, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. He's best known for The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which we talked about briefly.
And Nosferatu, wasn't he?
Not that I know of. I didn't.
He was in Casablanca too.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. He was. But yeah. People who recognize the name will know that the story goes that the Joker was based on the main character from this movie. Before you run out to try to watch it because of that, that's not what this movie is. This has nothing to do with that. The deal is that the Joker was based on a still picture from this movie. It was based on essentially a marketing photo. Mm-hmm. Didn't have anything to do with the movie. The movie is essentially a melodrama, though it does have a couple of exciting moments near the end. It's not a horror movie in any way, shape, or fashion. Tubi lists it as drama and thriller. It is way more drama than thriller. It is the story of a guy who, as a kid, this is set in England in like the 1700s. His father was a lord of some sort of nobleman, who is accused of treason and is executed. But just as they're getting ready to execute him, they tell him that his kid was sold to these gypsy type people who have a history of surgically altering people and then using them in sideshows. So after that guy goes into the Iron Maiden, we cut to a, I don't know, 10-year-old kid, maybe that, if that, maybe less, walking around in the snow, being abandoned by these gypsy type people, and essentially finding an old guy who takes him in. And I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail because it's actually a fairly complicated story. They do a whole lot of complicated setup in like the first 10 minutes of this movie. And then the whole rest of the movie is based on that. But suffice it to say, they fast forward 10 or 12 years into the future after that, and the melodrama starts. It is an interesting movie. It would probably be better for someone who is a little more into the really super dramatic. This movie is actually based on a Victor Hugo novel, which was controversial at the time, which like 50 years before this movie came out, it was controversial. Mostly because it was throwing shade on the nobility and monarchy and stuff. It's not a bad movie. It's not, like I said, it's not a terribly exciting movie for the most part. The last 10 minutes get kind of exciting. And they changed the ending for the movie to make it a semi-happy ending. But anyway, I mean, it's worth a watch, but if you're watching it to see the Joker, you're wasting your time. It is an interesting character, and it's really well acted. Conrad Veidt does a phenomenal job. I don't know how he does some of the stuff he does with his face. I'm assuming that there's appliances involved. I suspect he had something in his mouth to keep it the way it was most of the time. Not all of the time, because it does flex some, but there are entire scenes where his mouth just doesn't move. And he's acting his ass off with his eyes and his eyebrows the whole time. So it is, if you are interested in watching somebody act with their eyes, by all means watch this movie, because it's a friggin' masterclass. But don't watch it because you think Batman's going to come in.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. That you got to see this, not that Batman was not in the movie.
It would have been a more interesting movie for a lot of the runtime if Batman had been in it, but not so much. It would have been a really, really young Batman, because, like I said, this is the latter part of this is set in the time of Queen Anne, so that tells you something. It's not
Time travel Batman.
Yeah. This would be Batman talking to H.G. Wells or some shit.
That's cool.
Nice. Okay. Anything else?
No, that's all I got.
Okay. Les.
Okay, everybody get your pencils and papers ready. First, on Prime Video, Jeff Dunham has a new special on. It's about 40 to 50 minutes long. I highly recommend it. In this, he's decided that he's going to make a movie of the Christmas Carol, and he's going to use his puppets as the characters.
Oh.
It's a stand-up like he normally does, but he has them suited for the parts, which is funny as hell. So I highly recommend that.
Yeah.
Is Walter Scrooge?
Of course, Walter is Scrooge. Yeah, I saw
He has
this
to
a couple
be.
weeks ago too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
have to watch that. I like Jeff Dunham.
But Walter thinks he should be Tiny Tim. So.
Of course he does.
What I have also here is a series of movies from Tubi, starting with the Corona Zombies. Corona Zombies is a movie which is made from two movies, and of course they cut the sound from those movies, and actors say the parts for the script. Corona Zombies has Hell of the Living Dead and Zombies versus Strippers. And yes, I have seen Zombies versus Strippers. But these are so entertaining.
The strippers or the zombies?
The movie itself. I got a little more class than that.
A little, right.
So are the zombies.
The two actresses in this, in fact, all of these movies are the same people, which makes it even funnier because you get a little background. But you start with COVID zombies. The second one is Barbie and Kendra Save the Tiger King. So this one is highly recommended too, because they do have some parts with the Tiger King. Actually, what this is a movie that describes the making of the Tiger King when he was a boy and he was in the jungle and he became one with the jungle. This one features movies from 1968's Luana and 1968's Terror in the Jungle. You have a lot of tigers, you have a lot of natives, you have all sorts of stuff. It's such a spoof because in this, the two girls are watching TV and they're watching a documentary about the Tiger King. This one also gives you some named people, namely Leslie Jordan. If you remember Leslie Jordan, he was on Will and Grace. He's passed away, but he was so funny in the parts he did do. And this one is well worth the time also. The two girls show up again in Barbie and Kendra Storm Area 51. This one is a little more easy on the palate. It takes film from Space Thing of 1968 and The Daytime Ended 1979. Once again, just so funny. It's the last two that I told you, the Barbie and Kendra movies, you need to watch with the closed captioning. Because if you don't, you'll miss things. And in this one, the girls are thinking about going to Area 51. But in the first one, with the Tiger King, they are going to leave and go free the Tiger King from prison. So this one is about going to Area 51. The last one I have for you, I'm sorry, there's one more. Is this one I had great fun in watching because it does have some great people in it. This has Barbie and Kendra Crash Joe Bob's Drive-In Jamboree. which includes John Bloom as Joe Bob, Felissa Rose as Stu Dio, Diana Prince as Joe Bob's assistant Darcy, Dave Sheridan, the actor, has been in several of the movies that Joe Bob has done showings of. And this was funny because they did include Joe Bob. They had more of a plot in this one. The girls are going to go to see Joe Bob in Las Vegas at a movie theater because he's having like it says, a drive-in jamboree. In this one, they feature Satan, Seytan from 1974, Crash from 1976, and Ruby of 1977. And once again, they cut the noise, they cut the sound from these movies and do voiceovers for the characters. These are just hysterical. They run around. Let's see, the first one is about 80, late 80 minutes, 88 minutes or something. The second one, Tiger King, is longer, and Joe Bob is extremely short itself. But those are the ones that I found in just a scrolling of, gee, I want to sit down and watch something. So, yeah. The language is a little iffy. They do use a lot of curse words. There is nudity in each of these.
Oh, shit.
But it's nudity that's understandable. You can see why they used it. So that's about what I've got for you. And like I said, they're on Tubi, so step up and take a look at them.
I get the feeling that if anybody has the guts to watch all of these movies, they will know an awful lot about what makes Les tick.
Especially if you watch them all one after the other, like I did today.
Oh my God, dude.
Wow. Did you say Darcy was in there too?
Yeah. He said Darcy was in there.
Okay. Cool. Darcy the mail girl.
Mm-hmm. That is honestly, of the ones he's listed, that's the one that interests me the most at this point. Mm-hmm. Which may lead me to the others, but we'll see.
It's like watching a MST3K movie, but in this one, in MST3K versus this, they have the soundtrack going on MST as the guys are talking. This one just gives you a whole new plot line, and they are able to fit the two movies in each of these films together. So when it phases from one to the other, you can still understand what's going on.
This reminds me of a similar film. I don't know if it was more than one film put together, but they went back and redubbed the dialogue. It was like a martial arts film, like Kung. It's like something like that. Kung Pao, or I don't know.
Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a funny movie too.
Sounds very similar. Cool.
What was the Kung Fu movie we saw at the Alamo? The one that was so slanted you went God, this makes no sense. You had agents, the spy agents. You had the fighters from both sides, both the Americans and the Chinese. And do you recall that one?
Wasn't that the alligator people?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, that one didn't make any sense either. And that was
Well, true that, yeah.
and it seemed like it was like 2 or 3 films put together that should not have been done because they really didn't. It didn't make sense. I can't come up with the name of it right now.
Okay.
I'll have to do some research. Hell, just ask Eli. He probably knows.
Well, the alligator people was in '59, and this was much later than that, because alligator people was black and white.
Oh, and this was in color. Okay, all right.
But thank you.
Yeah, I'm not recalling it right now.
Been a little while, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's been several years since we saw that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said a few weeks back, I hadn't been to a theater in 5-6 years, so so it has to be longer than that. Oh, cool. Yeah, definitely need to check some of that out.
Yeah.
Please do.
I'm still in the rabbit hole. Some interesting ones came out this week. There was one was really refreshing. It was a woman who she was inebriated and she had an accident. She blamed on being hit from behind by a Porsche. It was a hit and run by a Porsche, which you look at the car. No, nothing hit her car. It was her bouncing off the curb and hitting a pole. And the car is like up in an angle, and the front end is like curved around the pole. That's how bad it was. But the thing I talk about this one is no screaming, no crying. If anything, she was just like, she was very just kind of calm, and she asked questions, and whatever was the answer was, she was like, "Well, thank you for telling me that." It's like, oh my God, she almost sounded normal, until you get to the end and you found out that her BAC was 0.19. So twice over the legal limit. It's like, I wouldn't have been able to tell, except for when she started trying to do the field sobriety test. She didn't do well there. So, but it I was surprised that, like I've mentioned before, it just seemed like there's always, just carrying on and all that. And she was just kind of calm and reserved and very polite and all that. I was like, wow. This is strange.
Not everybody's a raving asshole when they're drunk.
Well, I get that, but it just seemed it's first of all, it's not good TV, because you got to have them being raving idiots. That's where that's quote unquote good TV. So, but I've got one of those raving ones on this next one. Lady driving northbound on a southbound path. So she hits head on. And just as the lead officer gets there, everybody's saying, she's over there, she's trying to carjack, and she's trying to grab a car. She's pulling someone out of the car and take over and drive off.
Nice.
God. And of course she's just having a fit and just, I want to see my dog, because she had her dog in the car. Dog's fine. Got a new home because this was like as of a couple of years ago, and she's spending 5 years in jail. So, just some weird stuff. What else? Oh, I have picked up another trade. I talked about DC Finest here a couple weeks back. This one is a Justice League of America entitled, I believe it was entitled Best of Both Worlds, or Crisis of Both Worlds. It's like issues 45 through 60, like 62 or something like that. Some of these I have read through other collections and all that, but it's kind of cool to read some of these. One of them, though, one story, and it was written by Denny O'Neil, and I'm like, Denny, you should have known better. The bad guy was a general. It's from a foreign country. It was a made-up country. Generalissimo Demigog.
Oh, jeez.
Demmy is the first name, and Gog's last name. Demigog. Like, oh God.
Wow.
That hurts looking at it.
Just wow.
Yep. It's been fun reading those stories. We're talking classic Silver Age Justice League. So that's about it for me. So let's take a little break here, and then we'll get into this week's discussion. And we're back, and we are continuing our Christmas-related discussions that we started up last week. I hope you enjoyed that talk. For this week, this might be a little interesting. We'll see. We want to talk about the thing you hate most about Christmas. So, who would like to give their thoughts first?
Well, I don't know if it's really a Christmas thing. Well, it is a Christmas thing. I hate the busyness of it. Just the feel of the constant need to go and do, and you have to be at this grandparent's house to go to this one, to do this one, and I hate the busyness of it. I wish everyone would kind of just slow down, enjoy what you have right in front of you, because it's not always going to be there, you know.
Yeah.
And just enjoy the holiday. Enjoy, you know, you don't have to find that super extra special gift. Just you being there, and, you know, that should be enough. Yeah, that's the main thing I hate.
I agree. I could see that.
Makes sense to me.
Hmm. Especially when the kids were younger. You just feel like you're being pulled in 6 different directions, And that's why, we used to do Christmas Eve at my mom's house. And after that, we would get in the car and we would drive to Colorado, and it was over. There was nothing left to do. It was all about us at that point.
Yeah.
That don't sound so bad, really.
It wasn't. And it was just the being together, Yeah, we were skiing and stuff too, but
With all
it
the
was
other people out there, yeah.
You'd be surprised. It's not too busy right after Christmas. That's why we would go before Christmas and Christmas Day. Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but after Christmas, you're kind of hitting the after season before January kicks in with the ski season. So, and usually you can get some pretty good rates on hotels and stuff too after Christmas.
I wouldn't know these things because I don't travel.
We don't a lot anymore. I'm always scared to plan something now. It's like something always happens. We're supposed to go to Colorado this year, and I haven't really even talked about it or really done any planning for it because I'm just kind of like, what's going to happen?
You're waiting for that shoe to drop.
Yeah, something's going to happen,
I would call it paranoia, but, when it actually happens enough times, I think it stops being paranoia.
Yeah. I mean, last year my car was totaled.
Right.
In the driveway.
Right. Yeah, not on the trip or anything.
Yeah.
No, like a week before you were going to leave or whatever, 2 weeks. I forget how long it was, but yeah.
And then, of course, the one before that, I had lost my sister. So it's like, I'm so scared to plan anything. But we're not taking my car. I mean, we are, but we're not taking my car.
Right.
But yeah. And I guess that's another thing I hate. I hate that she's not here. But that's every day, not just Christmas.
Right. Don't know if that counts as Christmas because Christmas is only one day.
Yeah. But she was the one that we always was like, I don't care what else we do, we've got to, got to get the walker time in.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. The one everybody's been dreading. Because who knows what direction this could go. But no, again, I'm not going to be an ass about these things. And mine is actually not that far off of your first one. What bothers me is just the absolutely crass commercialism of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody has sensed this in some way or another because, I mean, because it's there and it's just become, it's almost become a joke at this point because every year it seems to start earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems more pervasive every year. There's no escape from it. You can't get away from it. And it's just always there. And it's always everybody trying to sell you everything all at once.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just madness. I mean,
because you don't love your people if you don't buy them this,
Right.
That's what I hate.
And there's just so much of it. And it's just,
mm-hmm.
I mean, I saw my first Christmas-related commercial this year literally on Halloween night.
Right.
And I'm like, at what point do we just stop bothering? I mean, it's how much more can you do that and it still be considered special? I mean, how much are we diluting it?
Oh, it's been diluted.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and this is not new. This is not something that started last year. This is not something that's been going on for 5 years or something. This shit's been going on for a century.
It has.
And I'm not
Yeah.
exaggerating that.
Yeah.
All of this, I mean, I can't say exactly that it started in the 1920s, but it's been a big deal. They've been pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, and just piling more on every single year for 100 friggin' years now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Remember how crazy Black Fridays used to be?
yeah.
Well, Black Friday's not Black Friday anymore. It may be
No.
the first. It may be the 1st of November. It may be October. It may be
go in
September.
December. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, most places were doing Black Friday sales for at least 2 weeks before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I mean, most
It's
of
not
them.
all month long.
Right,
Yep.
and many of them were even longer than that. And so you could, in a way, you could separate in your mind the distinction between Black Friday and Christmas, but you have to work at it. I mean, and it's just so much about money anymore.
Yep.
And it just gets more and more that way every year, and
Yep.
it's not. I think we've lost it. I think it might actually really be gone finally. We might have actually finally removed sentiment from the holidays.
Yeah.
Because it's all about money. It's all about what we can sell and whose money we can get and how much. More. It's always more.
Yep.
Yep.
Drives me up the damn wall.
Well, Mike, don't feel too bad because that's what I was going to mention.
Oh, I don't feel bad at all. Don't worry.
Well, hell, the Peanuts Christmas special. They talk about it. They talk about how commercialism it was back then, and that's what,
the
late
60s.
60s, early 70s?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the 60s. That's
It's
60
gotten worse.
years ago, and it has not gotten better.
No. Christmas in July. You mentioned, like Hallmark or Lifetime channels showing Christmas movies starting in September or some such. It just.
Yeah, when did they start, Liz?
The Macy's Parade?
No,
What?
Christmas movies on the Hallmark Channel.
Oh, God.
I know you were watching them. When did they start?
Now, they do their thing in July, the Christmas in July, but I would have to say probably September is when they started, like, at least one daily.
Right, mixing them in, throwing them into the mix.
Now it's all Christmas, but
Right.
they'd at least
Of
have
course.
one daily.
I've.
Yeah, because I was telling y'all around Halloween time, I was watching
You've
Christmas.
been watching them for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been watching them for a few weeks already at that point.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I've mentioned. I don't know if I've mentioned on the podcast before, but I've mentioned it before. The whole absurdity of just glossing over Thanksgiving like it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it's not profitable, except for grocery stores.
Right, grocery stores sell the hell out of it, but even that's mostly just them trying to give away free turkeys.
Right.
Because they can't move turkeys the rest of the year.
Right. It's just it's almost like Thanksgiving's not. I mean, everybody loves having a 4-day weekend, but it just seems like it doesn't matter at all. Now it's
already being overshadowed by
yeah.
Christmas, right?
I mean, it's pretty much Halloween, then Christmas, and then we'll move on.
Yeah.
And that's a shame because Thanksgiving, I used to like Thanksgiving a lot because it was the time that the family got together and spent some time together and have some good food and some great conversation, maybe watch a good football game or maybe not.
Watch a football game anyway. Whether it's good or not is debatable. But.
Yes. So.
Well, I think this may be a controversial opinion.
Oh, jeez.
But I think that Christmas and Thanksgiving have kind of lost some of its lackluster because they became so controversial. It's become a a trigger and a reason for discourse and a reason to disagree with each other. And there's just been a whole lot of shit piled on the two that it's hard to enjoy something when you think that you're offending somebody or hurting their feelings, or, you know, you don't want to do that, of course, but at the same time, you know, we're American. We had to take land from some Indians. This is our history. I didn't do it personally. I'm sorry if that makes people sad, but that's what happened. We're thankful we made it through that, and we should be thankful we're at where we're at today, and we're not stealing land from people. There's a good way to spin that too, but it just seems to be the discourse of it that's popular. They would rather fight about it than see the good side of both of it. But that's just me as a Christian. I don't mind sharing Christmas. Whoever wants to share Christmas, hey, do it. Whatever reason you celebrate, just do it. I don't care. But I don't like the fighting over it. It's crazy. Shouldn't be a time of fighting. It should be a time of peace and love and Christmas. But I think with anything today, people can find a way to be divided and upset about it. It's not just Christmas, but if you think about it, the last few years, Christmas has been a hot topic, whether it's these people are doing the wrong cups or this person isn't saying it right, or who cares? It's Christmas. Make it what you want to make it, not what everybody else is making it. And that should be what Christmas is.
I hear you biting your tongue there, Mikey.
You do. And
yes.
The deal is, as much as I could entirely go off on that, I'm not going to, because I get what you're saying. Mm-hmm. I mean, I disagree with the way you're getting to it, but what you're saying is it should be a time of joy and celebration.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people all over this country who don't seem to want to do that anymore. Mm-mm. And it's kind of a shame. They would rather nitpick minor differences. And my thing is, call it what you want, but the thing is, that's the sentiment that I was talking about that we've lost. Is it's supposed to be a time when we all get together and celebrate people, and that isn't working the way it should. Mm-mm. It isn't working the way it used to. I mean, I'm not going to say it was always perfect. I'm not going to say there was ever a time when it was perfect, because people are not perfect in general. And that's kind of the shame of it all, is that it is difficult to celebrate that sentiment when so many people don't seem to want to do that.
Yeah.
Talk about spinning things. Holy cow.
Yeah. I think Christmas definitely should be a time that people should be able to put their differences aside. Like you said, come together for just a day,
Right. If we make it about people and not about other stuff, wouldn't we all be happier?
We would. We get that.
I was telling somebody, I was telling somebody just today, people don't want to be happy. Mm-mm. That some people just can't handle being happy. It's just too alien a concept.
Well, that's not the popular thing to be, I'm
not sure it has anything to do with popularity. I think it's human nature.
Yeah.
In general. I think people are just not wired that way. I think more so than anybody really believes.
Yeah. But we do have a large section of people who look for things to be unhappy about.
I think it's not as large a section as you want to believe. I think it's a handful of very loud people.
Yeah.
Who are just trying to sow discord.
Yeah. I think the stupidest thing is over the color of a coffee cup. Come on, people. It doesn't make the coffee taste any differently. You are still paying $20 for a coffee. Who the fuck cares what color the cup is? Jesus. Don't say that. Crap.
Oh, man.
Speaking about loud people, Les, your thoughts?
Personally, I really don't have a problem with Christmas. I enjoy going to the malls and shopping. And usually I will go into a store, look around, and see if there's something. If I go in and see something in particular, I go, hey, that would be good for this person. I don't try to plan anything when I go shopping. I just enjoy taking it in, see what's going on, enjoy the people. So I was listening to you guys, but I just don't have a problem with it. That's essentially what I have to say.
You're all up in there going, yeah, y'all just need to quit bitching about it. That's what you need to do.
Right.
Which is not wrong, honestly.
If you guys have a problem with it, that's fine. I don't have any trouble with it, though. Although my wife is a member of those that it was in the retail business. She doesn't like to go shopping, but it doesn't bother me. So
I used to like shopping. I was one of those people who would be standing in lines at 1 o'clock in the morning so I could get in,
Oh, God, that's insane.
It was. Things you do for your kids,
I never did any of that shit for my kid. I mean, I'm sure I'll pay for therapy bills because of it, too, but whatever. I'll pay it. It's fine.
So I'm
Maybe
sorry,
that's my
I just
problem.
don't have it.
Got no hate at all in your heart for Christmas, and that's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
And I say that completely not sarcastically for a change.
No, that's fine. You can be sarcastic about it. I just tune you out, so what the hell?
You can go keep your puppy
And
somewhere
rightly
else.
so, right? No kidding. Put me in my place, damn. Yep. See, people would just listen to us. They would know how to do everything right, and it would be fine.
Uh-huh. I guess I would say the only thing that makes me mad is people that argue that it's dumb and they have all these complaints.
He just called us dumb.
I'm glad someone picked up on that.
It wasn't subtle, man.
No, not at all.
And I applaud you for that, too.
Yes. He's driving the bus tonight.
Oh, man. Payback for all these years of running over him with that bus.
Right.
Bring it. We deserve it.
We did.
We're not
Talking
worthy.
smack about Christmas.
I know, right? What the hell were we thinking?
Oh, man.
Hey, it's bringing us together to talk about it, right?
It is. Yep.
Yeah, we can sit and sing Kumbaya and everything will be ducky.
Well, when I was thinking earlier about this topic, I didn't think a lot of us would have a lot that we hated about Christmas. So I started looking up the most hated Christmas movies, and I started watching some of them.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
my God.
We did not recommend that course of action at all.
Yeah, some of them I can see why they're on that list. It's like, yep, this is what I hate about Christmas.
So
You
what
can
are
make crap like this and slap Christmas on it, and it's gonna sell, you know.
so what made your list?
Oh, oh, it was somebody else's list, but one that I started and maybe got 5 minutes into and was like, no, was Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
What?
No.
Oh, you done pissed Les off again.
Oh, wow.
Hooray for Santa Claus. Da-da-da-da.
It's like, no, that one was pretty bad. The Martians themselves were bad. Um,
That was one of the first movies for Pia Zadora.
Yep.
Come on.
It was.
Yeah.
That's a movie debut right there.
and they also had, hang on, let me pull this list back up.
You thought you were done with that list.
Okay. They say the worst Christmas movies are Christmas with the Cranks. I agree with that. Deck the Halls, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, Dr. Seuss's Jim Carrey's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I disagree with that one. And Nightmare Before Christmas was on this list. That's some bullshit.
I swear we
But,
talked about this list last year or something. These
We may
movies,
have.
this all sounds familiar to me.
Yeah.
Yep. Bread Claws. I like that one. 8 Crazy Nights. I like that one too. And Bad Santa made the list. Now, if you like wholesome Christmas movies, I can see why this one is on the list. But raunchy comedy was pretty good. I like Billy Bob Thornton though. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. That's some bullshit. 4 Christmases. They also had Krampus on here, the 2015. Now, I have watched quite a few Krampus movies, and that one actually wasn't that bad. I'm surprised that's on there. The Santa Claus 3. Yeah, I watched that one today.
Which one?
Santa Claus 3 with Martin Short in it. Yeah. I liked the first two. Santa Claus 3 had a whole different kind of vibe to it, you know. And then the hug at the end was like, come on, are you kidding me?
Spoiler.
Right. I mean, aw.
Mm.
That was Billy Mooney's daughter in that.
Yep. Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Played the little girl that melted Jack's heart.
Yeah. She was a cute little girl.
Yeah.
And I did like with the Santa Claus franchise, they've brought most the same people back for the roles, so it's not different people every single time, you know. So like his son, we watched him grow up in these movies. And Die Hard's on this list too.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've talked about this.
Well, now I've got a list that I just don't like. There you go. You made me find something.
Right?
There you go. You found something for Les to hate for Christmas. That list.
And Home Alone 3. I do notice when they play those, they always skip that one.
Yeah, because that was the first one without Culkin.
Uh-huh. And it wasn't as good.
Yeah, but it had, who was the girl? She's now Black Widow.
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson played the sister in that.
Huh. I didn't know that. or noticed that, I guess.
See, again, this is why you feel forced to Google shit around us.
Right? Yeah, some of them on the list, though, it's just like I think they polled people who don't like Christmas movies because some of these were really funny and cute, you know.
This shit is clickbait. I mean, come on. This
Yep.
Whoever wrote that list is getting from us right now exactly what they wanted,
Yeah.
which was
Well,
somebody to look at this list and bitch about it. That's all they wanted.
this is Rotten Tomatoes, so this
Okay.
is viewer's choice here.
Okay. Well, viewers are never wrong. I mean, come on.
No. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think it was just people who just don't like Christmas movies. I mean, I'm a sucker for a Christmas movie.
Well, I mean, a couple of these I've heard are bad movies. I mean, let's be realistic. But also, the deal is if you're narrowing it down to Christmas movies, it shifts that scale quite a bit.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and they missed a lot on Hallmark.
Right. Well, it's because nobody knows those except for the 17 people that watch Hallmark movies all the time, you know.
Yeah.
I say that snarkily, but it has a much more limited viewer base than Christmas with the Cranks because that got a big theatrical release.
Mm-hmm.
Just
well, I think all of these on the list did. I think that's part of the miss too, is they're not getting TV movies on this list.
Right, because we all know what would be on those.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny?
They don't. They rate the number one worst Christmas movie as the 2010 Nutcracker. I don't think I've seen that one. But it's pretty hard to screw up the freaking Nutcracker.
Oh, I don't know.
And it says starring Elle Fanning and Nathan Lane. So probably not as bad as people think it is.
Or Nathan Lane and Elle Fanning were getting a paycheck out of it.
Yeah.
You never know.
It's got a 0 on the tomato meter. And a 28 on the popcorn meter.
I wonder how many reviews it actually got. But whatever.
For audience reviews, 111.
No, I meant
critics review. Oh,
yeah, I meant critic.
Critic reviews was 32.
Hmm.
One of them said it was one of the most misguided children's films ever made.
Nice for a soundbite.
Yep. Forever ruin a children's association with the classic ballet. So yeah, apparently this one's not too great.
Because we train our children so thoroughly to love ballet these days. I mean, come on. Seriously?
Right.
That is not your target audience with this. I don't care what ballet it is. There's no ballet that is aimed at kids. Again, 32 people missing the point.
Yeah. Do not see this movie. Do not take your children to this movie. Do not be tempted by the title or the dancing visions of sugar plum fairies. Do not put on the 3D glasses. It's a whole lot of no.
You or by the critic?
That's the critics.
Okay.
Do not take the brown acid.
Yeah. Just the blue.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. So what?
I may have to put that on a weekend watch.
I
may even have some 3D glasses.
About that Christmas movie with Schwarzenegger.
Jingle All the Way. That is number 9 on this list.
Oh, good.
Number 9.
That was horrible.
Sadly, I think that may be the only movie on this list that I've seen. And it was pretty bad.
What's sad is I've seen most of these. With the exception maybe one or two.
Oh no, wait, I've seen National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. So I've seen 2 of these movies.
See, that's one that started like right after Halloween. It was like, what the hell? This is not supposed to be on TV yet. And I bet right now I could turn the TV on and flip through the channels and find it playing right now. They've played it at least once a day somewhere.
I believe it.
But that's, see, and I don't like watching that. I have certain rules on my Christmas movies. I don't watch Christmas Vacation or A Christmas Story until Christmas Eve. Same with Elf. But I've skipped that the last couple of years, so. Those are my Christmas Eve movies, though. It's not Christmas until those are watched.
Well, I'm kind of sort of way. I don't deem it Christmas till I hear the Christmas song by the Chipmunks.
Aw, I like that one. Susie wants a hula hoop.
That's because I'm old.
I think they had a record. I think I had the record of that one. That's
Probably.
puts a date on me, doesn't it? But yeah, I think I had the little
You were
record.
really young at the time. We'll go with that.
Yeah. It was a Strawberry Shortcake record player.
Oh, now that screams 80s. I'm sorry.
Yep.
But it was funny because you could take and slow it down, and they didn't sound as chipmunky.
Mm.
That was my magic trick. Ta-da!
Your variable speed record player.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Had 3 speeds.
33, 45, 78, baby.
Yep.
Play
And
it
they sounded
backwards.
pretty jamming at 78.
Play it backwards and it screws up your needle.
Play it backwards and it goes red rum, red rum, red rum.
Scratches your
red rum.
record up, too.
Mm.
Kind of off topic, but not off topic. You mentioned Elf.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was a TikTok video, but I saw it on Instagram. Father showed up to school to pick up his daughter, but he was dressed up as the elf.
God.
And the entire time she's staying away from him, and she's got her hand up to her face so she's not seeing him. Because she's just mortified.
Mm.
And he's heading right toward her. I'm just, oh, that's so funny.
That would be funny.
Again, therapy bills.
Yep.
But yeah.
That's the fun therapy bills, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Worth it.
Yep.
All right. On that note, we are going to go ahead and take a quick break and come right back with Geek News for you. And we're back, and it's time for Geek News for you. In this segment, we bring a couple of news items to the table for discussion. And this week, it is Liz and myself. And Liz, would you go first, please?
Yep. I've got a little update. I thought I would use it as my news item since I'm always talking about it. But yesterday was the last episode. Well, it was supposed to be the very last episode of Yellowstone. I've talked about why this has been delayed, and they were finally getting back to it. I think it was a 2-year break in between half a season. So we were watching it, and I kept noticing that in between all the commercial breaks and stuff, they kept calling this the season finale. And it was like, no, wait a minute. This is supposed to be it. This is the end, And it kind of makes my news story kind of makes sense with that because today they put out an article and they're saying now we may actually get a season 6 of Yellowstone. Yay! Um, I think they saw they could do this without Kevin Costner and that it actually went pretty well and that the storylines really progressed and he didn't need to be there, you know. Um, I do have complaints about this half season that they gave us. For one, it was too short. Uh, but there was a lot of conflicts and storylines going on. And in the last episode, they kind of like neglected the big pink elephant in the room, which was Jamie and Beth's like hate and feud for each other. They have set this up for 5 seasons now. Beth's going to kill him. I mean, that's all there is to it. If you watch Yellowstone, you know what I'm saying. Beth's going to kill him. They have set this up for 5 seasons, and now when everything is falling into place and he has finally pushed her to her ever-loving last, they just kind of ignored the whole thing. And it's like, wait a minute. There's no way in hell you're going to end this series and us not see Beth get her pound of flesh out of Jamie, you know. But they're saying that, here's where it gets kind of weird. So they're talking now that there's negotiations for a season 6. Now, before we heard anything about a season 6, there was talk that there's some main characters, Beth being one of them, Beth, Casey, and Rip. Now, on the show, Casey is Beth's brother, and Rip is her husband. So there was a talk that there was going to be a spinoff with those 3, which, you know, other than Kevin Costner are pretty much the main people on the show, other than Jamie. So they keep saying all of this, and they kept leaving Jamie out of it. So when we're watching the season finale, or what we think is the series finale, but just the season now, you know, we're expecting Jamie to die because he's been left out of the spinoff show. He's, you know, no interviews with him or anything. So we pretty much thought, yeah, he's going to die. And then to totally ignore that in the last season. But I also have a little bit of tea on this because now that the 5th season is out and is over, Kevin Costner has had quite a bit to say on this topic. I have talked quite a bit about the things that Kevin Costner has had to say on this topic, but he has thrown a new one out at us, which I'm calling bullshit on. He's now saying the reason why he left Yellowstone wasn't because of the pandemic, wasn't because he was going through a messy divorce and couldn't go to recordings, which he testified under oath was the reason why he left. But now he's saying that Taylor Sheridan stole parts of his movie, Horizon or whatever it was that bombed at the office not too long ago, that he stole part of his movie for Yellowstone and he didn't want to work with him anymore. Oh, come on. You have been diva and crying and bitching and moaning, and this is the very first time we're hearing anything at all about he stole parts of my movie. No, he didn't. He didn't, you know. But now let's play a little devil's advocate here. Could Taylor Sheridan not turn around and say the same thing about Kevin Costner? You've been working on my show for 6 years, and now there's heavy elements of my TV show in your movie. So who stole from who? You know? It's kind of one of those, But I think had that have been a very, you know, and hey, that's a big reason to leave a show. You know, I wouldn't want somebody stealing my work, you know. I think I would have been yelling about this a little sooner than all the other bullshit excuses he's thrown out in the wind of why he left. So, that's a little tea spill there. Yeah, I'm interested because, like I said, he just mentioned this a few days ago, so I'm kind of curious on where that's going to go, or if Taylor Sheridan is even going to entertain him with, an answer or comment to this. We'll see. It's an ongoing investigation. But once I get the tea, I will be sure to let everyone know because I find it hilarious. I think it's a straw man theory because he's grasping at everything he can at this point. He wants to explain why he gave up a hit TV show for a movie that bombed at the box office. So, which has now gone straight to streaming, by the way. So.
And which nobody cares about. I mean, nobody cares what his excuse is.
Mm-mm.
Not at this point. Mainly
No.
because he's had so damn many of them.
Yeah, and I do find it kind of bullshit because, me, I'm on all the gossip sites, I'm on all the tea sites and stuff. I knew what was going on behind the scenes. I knew that when season 5 started, Kevin Costner was not going to be there. There was no way in hell he was going to be there, But for regular fans who tuned into it and found out that he was gone, they got pissed off at Taylor Sheridan. And of course, he's kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. I didn't kick him off my set. He walked off. He never came back. So how is that my fault? We've had to rush around. We've had to change scripts. We've had to change casting. We had to change, directing times and everything else to work around him. And then he just fucked us off. So I do think that he's getting kind of a bad rap over that, which isn't fair. That Kevin Costner needs to grow a set and kind of own up to some of this because that's not right. It wasn't Taylor Sheridan's call to have Kevin Costner off this show. It was Kevin Costner's call to walk off this show. So I do hope people realize that. And also getting through this last season or this last half of this season, he wasn't missed. They did a really, part of the whole season is dealing with his quote suicide, which they're finding out was murder. But I do think it was funny when they showed the autopsy. They showed the naked body, they showed the back of the head, but you never saw the face, So they made it work without him. I don't know if Kevin Costner wanted to come back and play a dead body,
Sure.
Yeah,
But
that was Kevin's first movie too. That was the same thing he did in the first movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they should have pulled footage from that.
Oh, yeah?
He was in what?
The Big Chill.
Big Chill.
Yeah. Now, this you can tell is definitely a body double.
Right.
But, yeah, like I said, and I do think it's pretty interesting with given, like I said, I've told you guys a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that's been going on. Given what he had on his plate, I think he did a really good job of covering that up to where it made it look like, okay, this was planned. I think this storyline was planned. They just had to speed it up a little, which is kind of why maybe the last episode was kind of weird. But,
well, he's been very successful. He's doing documentaries.
Mm-hmm. Who, Kevin Costner is?
Yeah.
Huh.
He's doing documentaries on Yellowstone, the area.
See, isn't that kind of crazy, though? I don't want to be on the show, but I'm still want to make money from it. I don't know.
Well, he's just talking about the national park, not the TV show.
Yeah, which happens to be named after the TV show that a lot of people know him for right now.
I think they named the park first, honestly.
Oh, they did. But you see what I'm saying, though. They're going to have John Dutton talk about Yellowstone. So, it. But yeah. I said kind of crazy, but like I said, I think they all did a wonderful job of moving past him. And originally, Taylor Sheridan said before Kevin Costner agreed to be on the show for as long as he did, this was what was supposed to happen. It was, can the kid survive without the dad? And everybody liked Kevin Costner, so he kept him around for longer. So, you know. But season 6, there's still quite a bit of storyline and conflict that they did not wrap up. So,
apparently,
Jamie and Beth being the huge one, she's going to have to do something with him before either one of them can move forward. So, that should be interesting. And it's kind of neat because I've been watching Landman, which is also Taylor Sheridan. And, I told you guys there's a girl on there that he's trying so hard to make Beth, and watching Yellowstone and then watching Landman again, it's like, yeah, she needs to be on that show and show her, how it's done. But I think it's just the actress. I think her name's Kelly Riley. I don't think anybody could come in and play Beth better than she did. She just added that bitch to it, and that's in a good way. That's not a bad thing.
Well, and maybe ultimately they're going to go a different way with the Landman character.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, and like from when I said that to now, she has kind of growled and snapped, so it's there. She just needs to tap a little harder.
Well, maybe she's just a little different.
Yeah. But they're wrote the same way. You can tell they're wrote the same way.
Okay.
But yeah, both of them are pretty good. Right now, I cannot think of a series that he's doing that I could not recommend to somebody. If you like Army, he's got that. If you like Westerns, he's got that. If you like gangsters, he's got that going on right now. If you like prison shows, he's got that going on right now. And it's cool because all these are hits. So, but one last thing. I do think it's kind of weird on Landman that he has a big star like Demi Moore in it. And we are 4 episodes in, and she's maybe said 3 lines. That's kind of weird to me. You're paying a big name. Use her. I want to see her more in this. And it's also got John Hamm from Mad Men on there. He's doing really good on there, too. I'd have to say Demi Moore, John Hamm, and Billy Bob are the big names on this series.
Demi Moore, dun 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 dun. All right, if you know, you know.
That's an obscure one.
I didn't know.
All righty. When this episode drops, Kraven the Hunter movie will be out by then. This will be their opening weekend. In an interview, director J.C. Chandor is already has plans for a sequel if they actually gets one. And he plans to adapt the famous story arc, Kraven's Last Hunt. Which I'm going, but if y'all are not including Spider-Man in these movies, how are you going to be able to do this?
Body double.
Well, the whole thing is that the story was that Kraven actually defeated Spider-Man to the point that actually he buried him alive, and then he actually kind of went around in a black suit as Spider-Man, and eventually obviously Peter got better and defeated him, although something else happened, but I'm not going to spoil it. But I'm just like, and of course, Aaron Taylor Johnson, who's playing Craven, wants to do it too because he apparently loves the story, and it's a good story. It's actually one of the few that people will remember that involves Craven. There's not a lot of them, but it just seems like, Sony has gone out of their way to do films using Spider-Man's villains and not actually including Spider-Man or any references to Spider-Man. And now here's one of you're going to go, this is going to take some serious rewrites. And it's going to change the story. It's not going to be the same. I don't see it being the same impact. Am I wrong in here?
No, I had this rant last week, so you could ask Mikey if you're wrong. But no, I agree. I thought it was kind of weird with the Venom one that they did that whole setup for the end scene and the cut scene and stuff that showed Spider-Man and then never went anywhere with it.
Never pulled it off.
Yeah. It was like, what was the point of that if, this last one that came out had nothing to do with Spider-Man? But they set it up for it.
It's like they're trying to tease it somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't actually have the rights.
I don't know.
It's weird.
Is it still with Sony?
Yeah, Sony owns all the Spider-Man stuff.
Well, isn't Venom considered Spider-Man stuff, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sony made the Venom movies too.
So wouldn't it be easy for them to put him in there? If you own the guy,
Well, who knows what the arrangements is with Marvel Studios, because Marvel Studios has been using Spider-Man too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And I had heard something over the last couple of months, or I read this somewhere, which I thought was kind of interesting. Apparently, in some of the agreements that they've made, that Marvel Studios cannot use any of the characters that Sony introduces. So they can't use Venom. They can't use Morbius, which...
Not sure they wanted to anyway, but right.
Like, thank you.
Right. Or now Craven. But, if there's another villain, I mean, like, they're able to use Kingpin. Now, most fans would think Kingpin is a Daredevil villain, and yeah, I mean, he's closely associated with Daredevil, but he was a Spider-Man villain originally. So I don't know. I don't know. But I've been hearing a lot recently, or more recently, of the desire to adapt Craven's Last Hunt as a film, which I agree, it's a really good story, and it would be awesome to see either animated or live action. But I just don't see how they can do it without Spider-Man being involved, because that's the whole purpose. That was I mean, he was just, I can't even talk. It
just blows your mind so much.
I mean, Fox did Days of Future Past, and they changed. Obviously, they changed it up because it was really Kitty's story, Kitty Pryde's story. She was the one that went into the future and saw all that. Actually, she was sent in the past. It was the future Kitty Pryde that was sent in the past to try to change events where that future does not happen. And in the movie, they did Wolverine.
Yeah.
For a couple of obvious reasons. One, it's Hugh Jackman. You got to use him. And two, they really hadn't set up Kitty Pryde in the other films. So I kind of understand it. It would have been nice if it had been a little bit more faithful to the story, but I don't really have a major problem. It made sense with what they were trying to do. This, I don't see how they can do that, but I don't know. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't have to worry about it at all until we see numbers on Craven and figure out if they're even going to think about a sequel.
Yeah, right.
This could just be part of the publicity campaign for Craven, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We'll see.
That's a good point.
Or it could turn out to be another Morbius.
Right. Too soon to tell.
or Madam Web.
Yeah.
Right.
So. All right. Any special shout-outs or mentions this week?
Nope. Not me.
Nope.
Okay, we'll move on to our regular shout-outs. First off, I want to thank Pop Goes the Culture for allowing us to be part of a great podcast network. Definitely check them out. There will be a link in our show notes. We also want you to check out the fine men and women who are kind enough to spread the word of the fellowship by retweeting our links on Twitter/X. And that is Podern Family. So the best way to check them out is to just do a search, #Podern Family, all one word. And just scroll through, and whatever catches your attention, by all means, click on that link and download that episode. And we hope you have a great time listening to them. We want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying music to our podcast. In our show notes, there will be a link where you can check out some of their other music. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode, and we value your feedback. Anything you want to send to us in terms of questions or observations or what have you, please send them our way. Our email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, or you can go to the website, go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form you can fill out there. We did mention, it's been mentioned earlier, that we do have a Discord that's free for anybody to join. We do have an open invitation on our homepage. Discord is free to sign up, and the apps are free in the app stores. Social media, we're on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks, on Instagram, Twitter, and now Bluesky. We're at Fellowship Geeks. Feel free to follow us. If you want to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found at Mikey Geek. Liz may be found at LN_geek. Les may or may not be found at Fake Les Webster. And I can be found at Tom TC Geek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you'd be so kind as to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate you listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate the support as always. And until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,